You know what you should interview? Iconic Cocktail.
Yes, I totally want to interview them. That'd be awesome.
As someone who's just starting to
Just
look
starting
into...
yeah, and plus they have such a unique way of doing stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Let's do this, and we are back with another DELO podcast. Just had an enjoyable week with Aaron Chamberlain on my last podcast, and today we have Dala. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
And say your last name.
Alfawaris.
There you go.
And I don't know if you know this, you're DELO, but did you know that my nickname is Dollar Bills?
No. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Dollar Bills! I love it. So we have DELO and Dollar Bills in the house today. I'm excited about this one. This is in relation to the restaurant business, but it's a little bit on the outside with Dala, with what she does, doing designs for restaurants and everything. And I think it's a big added value for everybody listening here that's in the industry and even not in the industry to learn how design can really help an establishment and a concept and all that create a sense of community, create an energy, create a profit center. So we're going to talk a lot about that. But first I want to get into your background, and I want to know just some personal stuff about you, just so people can get a context of who you are.
Sure.
Where are you originally from?
So I am half Kuwaiti, half Palestinian, but I was born in Kuwait, raised between Kuwait, Bahrain, and the UK.
Wow.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
How did you get out here?
So at 18 years of age, I came out for college. Most of us in Kuwait will travel either to Europe or the US for an education, and I chose ASU because they had the #4 design program in the States at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when did you get the design bug? Was it when you were a kid or?
Gosh, a lot of people ask that question. I don't really remember. I have a silly story to tell, but there was a time when my parents would host a lot of parties and they would have fortune tellers come in. And I was probably 10 years old at the time, but I talked to this fortune teller and he said, "You're going to be an architect." And so I actually started in the architecture program at ASU, and I thought, this is not for me. I need something that's just a little bit more creative.
Right.
And that's when I transitioned into interior design from architecture.
So you didn't play with like dolls and Barbies and all that? You played
No.
with protractors and building blocks? And...
Not quite. I think I just watched my dad remodel our house quite a bit, and I just found that process interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a large family, small family?
Pretty big. So we are 5 altogether.
Okay.
Me, my sister, and 3 brothers. Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And do they all live in the States here, or do you go back?
They're
Or
all back home in Kuwait.
they're all back home
Yeah.
in Kuwait?
I'm the only one here.
Okay. How often do you go back there?
So I actually go to London, which is a better halfway point.
Okay.
At least once a year, sometimes every other year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you're out here all on your lonesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my husband.
Well, of course. And you met your husband how long ago?
16 years ago now.
16 years ago?
Yes.
Wow.
I know, long time.
Crazy. Where'd you guys meet? I remember you telling me this
hate
story.
this question.
I love this question.
If you've been around in the valley for a long time, then you know this place, but Access Radius?
Yep.
Yep.
That's right.
That was it.
Did you design that place?
I did not. No, I did not. I think I was still in school at the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I've met your husband. He's a sweet dude. That's cool. You guys are cute together.
Thank you.
Well, that's good. So it sounds like really from childhood and then, just kind of going through schooling and then, like you said, you hit ASU. Like design's just been in your blood. It's what you do. It's who you are. And what was one of your first jobs or first people that you worked for?
Oh, gotta think about this one. The first internship I had was here in the valley at Estest.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. They're actually one of our clients too, Tony Sutton.
Really?
I call Uncle Tony.
Yes, yeah. So
That's cool.
that was my first internship, and it was residential primarily at the time. I think they've diversified since. So yeah, that was it.
That's cool. And then did you decide that one day you're like, I really like the hospitality field and you wanted to create more of a niche into that?
Yeah, so I think commercial is where I spent most of my time in the industry. when I left, let's call it the corporate world, and started my own firm, I decided to kind of follow in the footsteps of what I had done in the past, which was hospitality, retail, residential, a little bit of everything. But during my first year, I found that my passion, I mean, what I would get most excited about was anything food and beverage related.
Yeah.
Bars, restaurants, coffee shops. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I should just focus on that and do what makes me really happy day in and day out.
Yeah. And what, like, what is it about, just say, the restaurant end of it that would excite you more than, say, designing in an office?
So I think it's the connection that people have at
Yeah.
a setting like a restaurant or a bar. I mean, I think back to my best memories, and I'm sure, you know, everyone feels this way, but it's around the dinner table with your family,
Right.
conversing, forgetting about your phone, you know, in this age of just busyness. We're always on our phones, we're always communicating, we're not enjoying the moment, but sharing a meal is when you're completely present.
Yeah.
And I honestly just want to replicate that moment 1,000 times over.
Yeah, yeah, and you've done a real good job. Even looking at the projects that we've worked on together, and the stuff that I've seen on your website, it's that comfortability. I probably just made up a word of, you know, creating, you know, that community where people come in and they want to hang out in those places, and they want to, you know, drink and talk to their friends, and do that, you know, all that sort of stuff, as opposed to, you know, coming into, without naming any names, some place that has a, you know, hard as hell seat, and, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, get them in, get them out, just
Uh-huh.
feed them, you know, and it's kind of just a transaction. You're creating more of a community, and just kind of you have a passion around creating something that people are excited to walk into.
Right.
And repeatedly.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit, what's the name of your company, and tell me a little bit about the structure of your company, and you have employees and stuff like that?
So FJI is the name of the firm, and we are a boutique hospitality firm with a sweet spot for food and beverage interiors, located in Old Town, Scottsdale.
Cool.
And, you know, it's really hard to describe what we do in a sentence.
Yeah.
But I would say that we design experiences versus designing interiors. I feel like aesthetics can be found anywhere, quite honestly. There's a lot of talented people in the Valley, and aesthetics are aesthetics, and you can get them anywhere. But I think what we're trying to do is take it a step further and really develop a personal connection that causes customers to come back for more.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, revenue and the bottom line is what's most important
Right.
for the business to succeed. So pairing that with creating a really personal experience for each individual is, I think, the key.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, to have a sensitivity to that, especially in the hospitality business, where, you know, the bottom line is so narrow a lot of times. I mean, these guys and girls are, you know, hoping to make, you know, 9% towards their bottom line if they're
Right.
you know, successful, if not more. Do you have a I guess like a different sort of feel for, say, if you're designing a coffee shop as opposed to a nightclub, as opposed to a lounge, as opposed to, you know, just an eatery?
Yes, we do. And I think a lot of these different feelings are actually emotional based.
Yeah.
So we try to infuse that emotion in our design process. So one of the things we do is when we're developing a concept, we'll actually develop a playlist in the background that corresponds with the environment.
Very cool.
Because that's a feeling you just can't describe, right?
Right.
You play the music in the background and you get it. You get what the vibe and the feel of the space is. One of the other things we do is create a customer journey. So rather than starting with design, we start by developing a fictitious character, which is your ideal client or customer,
Cool.
and then telling a story of how they navigate your entire space. So how did they find out about you? What happens when they enter your space? How do they interact with your staff?
Yeah.
What is the transaction like? All of these touch points are experiences. So we design that first in terms of storytelling, and then we reverse engineer it and then design solutions to kind of answer to those touch points.
That's awesome. Like, I've never heard anybody say that. I know in the agency here, when we're selling insurance, you know, we're providing a service and we're looking for that ideal customer. You know, who is our raving fan? Who's our ideal? But to hear a designer talk about from the very beginning, like, you know, for somebody in the hospitality industry, what is our ideal customer? What does that customer want to look like?
Right.
A lot of times people will go in and they'll go on the basis that they're going to open something up and they're going to be like, we just want to get, you know, butts in the seats, which is, I get it. It's about, you know, obviously, you know, serving the public and doing that, but to have an ideal customer, somebody that comes in, that's going to come in there 2-3 times a week and make it their home, you know, and per their proximity and all that.
Right.
That's really cool.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah. What's one of the most unique projects you've worked on? Just like crazy out of the ballpark, like, I don't know, some guy wanted some sort of like, you know, I don't know, diamond, you know, stairwell.
I haven't had that quite yet,
No?
but I challenge someone to come to me with something exciting. Yeah. Oh God, this is a hard one. Am I allowed to say the next project we're working on?
You can say whatever you want. It's
Okay.
your...
So we have a steampunk bar coming up,
Wow.
fully steampunk inspired,
Okay.
which I think is really interesting and unlike anything we've seen in the Valley.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's really
Yeah.
cool. Wow. How many projects? I mean, could you be working on one project at a time to 4 or 5?
Oh, you know, design projects are at different phases at all times, but I
Yeah.
would say heavily active 4 or 5.
Okay.
But then infused in there is, you know, some construction administration or some palette building, or they're just at different stages.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. When does a restaurateur, nightclub owner, coffee shop owner, when do they want to start having that conversation with somebody like you?
Yeah.
So hypothetically, I'm Joe. Wow, I'm gonna go sign a lease over at such and such place. It's a blank shell right now. Signs the lease. Construction starts. When? I mean, do they get you involved before that?
I would hope so. That's actually the best time is
Yeah.
to get involved before the signing of any leases, because what we can assist in is figuring out if the space is the right fit. So if they've got a concept in mind, there's certain things we have to figure out. One, does the space allow for this concept to come to life? The other is, how many people do you actually have to have in your space to survive?
Right.
So from terms of a seat count, it would benefit them if we produced a floor plan very early on to figure out if the space works or not.
And that's huge. I maybe a lot of people don't even realize that is part of design.
Right.
Like figuring out the flow, figuring out how to make the most, you know, bang for your buck when something's put in. So let's talk about the monetary value of what you do and how that can actually help a restaurant by getting somebody, you know, professional and precise and knowing what they're doing, such as yourself. How can that help a restaurant make money? How does design help a restaurant make money?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that I think each project maybe has different scenarios that would allow us to kind of maximize the bottom line. I would say seat count applies to all projects.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we get the right number of people in your restaurant so that you're making what you need to make per night. And then I would start to look at things like, is there retail that we need to push within the space? So if we look at Rotten Grapes as an example, they have a bottle shop. So figuring out where that bottle shop is located on the floor plan so that it's most visible to everybody that dines in. And
Yeah.
that way they're aware of, you know, the added retail or the added shop. Yeah.
Okay. Now that's how about music?
Yeah, yes.
Do you get into any of that?
We try. We don't always have control of it, but we're hoping with this development of a playlist that it maybe influences
Right.
what happens in the space.
Does it not drive you nuts when you go into a place and it's just quiet?
Yes.
Like it's just, a
Oh.
rumble of echoing noise and
Yes.
there's no background or any
Oh,
of that?
I'm so tempted to play music on my phone when
Yeah.
that happens.
I think music is definitely one of those underlooked aspects of design that really makes a
Right.
a vibe happen
Yeah.
while you're sitting there looking at really cool stuff. You
Yeah.
want to feel that vibe going
Yeah.
on. How much of your personal taste generally goes into designing a restaurant, and are there at a lot of times when dealing with a restaurant owner, I'm sure you have all sorts of creative types, people that already know what they want and they're kind of looking for you for expertise on how to get there, or people that are just like, design it, right?
Yeah. We get both, that's true. That's also a really hard question. So I think, you've been to my office?
No,
Yeah,
I have yet
okay.
to go to your office.
So I've designed it to purposely look like a construction site, meaning
awesome.
it's incomplete, it's a blank canvas. And the idea is that anyone can come in with a concept, and rather than us forcing our design aesthetic on them, we're actually designing for that customer.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that we don't have a certain style that maybe is an underlying thing that you see. I don't see it, but I hear people tell me that yes, we can tell when a project is your project. But the goal is not to make them all look alike. Each one is its own unique thing, and I think our design solutions should be an answer to what the concept is specifically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What about, so we're talking about an industry that a lot of times there's a lot of cost cutting. And insurance, fortunately, is for some people is the lesser of two evil, unfortunately. But per lease, they kind of need it. When you look at, oh, am I going to hire this social media guy? Oh, am I going to hire the janitorial company that costs, $200 more because they really clean, this and that. Oh, am I going to hire the designer? Do you run into that quite a bit to where they're kind of, outweighing or balancing whether or not to get, because they're trying to figure out the value?
Yes. I think that this happens more often with younger businesses that are maybe opening up their first location and need to cut costs, which is completely understandable. And I've been coming across this quite a bit, so I actually changed the structure of my business to offer 3 packages.
Cool, I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, so we have a basic, premium, and enhanced, and with the basic, all we're providing is concept development. So essentially, you walk away with materials and finishes, a 3D rendering, and you can build it out yourself.
Okay.
And I really feel like everybody should have the opportunity to have design be a part of the process. So by doing that, I am able to make sure that.
And just what you said there, let's talk about how you give away, what is it, a year? You do a free design? Or tell me about that, how that all came about, because that's awesome.
Oh, thanks, Sam. I'm excited. The next one's coming up. So it's called Design It Forward, which comes from the word pay it forward, or the phrase pay it forward. And what we do is we donate our interior design services to one new or growing local food and beverage business.
Sweet.
And this came about because in my first year of business, I obviously, left my job overnight and reached out, maybe spent a week and reached out to everybody in my community, letting them know what I've done. And within a week, I had 5 jobs. And I was just speechless. I mean, how do I thank these people for letting me get up on my feet within a week?
Yeah.
So I knew a thank you wasn't enough, and I thought what I would do is return the favor by giving someone else the opportunity like they gave me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what are some of the design, or what's one of the design forward projects that you've done?
So the first year winner was Freak Brothers Pizza, which is at the Church Show in Phoenix.
Yeah, love those guys.
And then second year was Iconic Cocktail Company, which we're working together right now in a new location, or the first location.
Yeah.
And this year we're opening it up in June, and we're hoping we get applicants from all over
Well, that's
Arizona.
cool. I definitely want to help you promote that. I think that's an amazing program that you do, and just being able to donate your time is, to me, that's the most precious asset that anybody has. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, applauding you for that.
Thank you.
When in the design world, as far as when you go into a restaurant or a nightclub or something like that that's been around for a while, in your opinion, when is it time for a remodel?
So we've seen a trend of 6 to 7 years.
Yeah.
That's kind of when trends rise and die, and that's when restaurants probably need a refresh at that time.
Yeah.
But what I'm noticing right now, which I'm really excited about, is people are designing with less trend in mind and more longevity in mind. So just being very specific to their brand and their concept rather than mimicking what's out there that,
Yeah. And when you go in and say you're picking out materials and all sorts of items, do you find that, well, I would assume that you give them a choice for a whole like spectrum of you can pay, $10 for this, or you can pay $30 for this, or there's a middle sort of cost. Is that?
Well, actually, I would start by asking what their budget is.
Yeah.
And I really push to define that early on so that we make selections that are congruent with that cost.
Yeah.
Rather than, being way over budget or way under budget.
Yeah, and then you come in with like picture booklets and materials and stuff like that, and they get to play with it and touch it and look at it and see it all and that sort of thing.
Physical samples, but then we also do a digital presentation of all the concept imagery, the 3D renderings of their space. I mean, they really get to visualize what their space looks like before it's built out.
Is it like a computer program like on Property Brothers?
Yes, Property Brothers. We use SketchUp.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, when I get forced to watch that by my wife, because I'm a good husband, that's probably my favorite part of the whole Property Brothers, is to see how it's going to look. And then
I think you secretly enjoy the show.
Yeah, well, that and The Bachelor, right? Every man's, what is it called? Like, those things that they admit to, but they don't admit to. Yeah, I get suckered into that. So going back to people get to touch and feel and do all that sort of stuff. I've seen one of my favorite projects that you have done recently is White Rabbit.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about that project and what went into that, because it's so unique.
Yes.
It's an old pharmacy, right? It's downstairs in Gilbert.
I'm glad you said that. It's not, but we designed it to look like one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the space was actually an office building, like executive suites.
Yeah.
And the owners wanted to convert it into a speakeasy, and they had traveled the country and seen a couple, and they said they really wanted to take it back to the 1920s. So this is one of my favorite projects.
Yeah.
So what we did was we researched a lot of the 1920s bars, but tried to come up with something that would be a nod to that era, but also feel very current and very today-like.
Yeah.
We also tried to get the community involved in building the space. And what I mean by that is, have you been there yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the private lounge, do you recall seeing framed photos from floor to ceiling?
Yep.
So what we did in the concept development stage was with the permission of the clients, we said, hey, we want this room to be filled with images, but we would like images of people from Arizona.
Yeah.
So they're historic family photos, their
cool.
mother, their father, their grandfather. And so we put out a call and reached out to everybody in the Gilbert community and said, send us your photos. Send us your photos. We will handle printing it and framing it and putting it up on the wall.
Just the creativity of that alone, and then connecting the place with the community, and people want to come in and see those photos.
That's the key. Yeah. So we have a tagline where we say all of our design solutions are meant to bring your customers back for more, because coming back for more means revenue. And I think that's exactly what happened on opening day. Anyone that contributed wanted to come in to see their mark on the walls of that private lounge. Yeah, and
it's like it's their place. It's their place away from home. It's their cheers almost, to come in and hang out.
They've got ownership.
Yeah, they have ownership in it, for sure. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. Please share with everybody on here just some of the other, anywhere. I know you did a coffee shop back
in Kuwait.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
What was the name of that again?
Alert.
Yeah, what a great name for a coffee shop. It's like, duh. God, I wish I was selling coffee at $4 a glass. But name some other projects that you've worked on just, I don't know, in the last couple of years. So some of your clients.
So Rotten Grapes in Phoenix, Poketrition also in Phoenix, The White Rabbit, talked about that. We're working on a couple of other projects in Gilbert right now that are in the works. A rooftop bar, another bar.
Cool.
Let's see. Iconic Cocktail, we're working with them on their new upcoming project.
Yeah.
Broad House is a new project that we're working on. Yeah,
very
so
cool.
Lots of exciting stuff on the horizon.
That is really cool. And then, let's use Rotten Grapes as an example. You designed, put all that together. They've been open, I don't know, 8 months now, 9 months, something like that. Are you still a part of the process? Do you still, talk to people after you've designed the place? Like, are you removed? What happens after you're done?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked this question. So we're friends.
Yeah.
And so on a friendship basis, I do keep in touch with them, and I go in as often as I can to see them. I mean, that's the thing with being a boutique firm. You develop such personal relationships with
Yeah.
the clients, and we feel indebted to them. We want to make sure that our design solutions move their business forward. So I would say friendship for sure takes us back.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's the same thing here. With what we do, and it's nice to have a boutique firm and be specialized in an area. And I know that's what had brought us together through an introduction. And it's like, hey, you guys do the same thing, but in different industries.
Right.
And so it's so cool. You've been amazing on being able to refer some really good clients, and customers and now friends over to me, and vice versa. It's nice to have an ace in the hole, somebody in the back pocket, somebody that you feel good about introducing others to, knowing that they're going to get Class A service and added value and all that sort of stuff, and then you just become friends with people.
Yes.
Like we've become friends.
Yes.
So, all right, so let's talk about some fun things.
Okay.
I want to know basically your favorite music. Right now, if I go into your iTunes, what am I going to hear?
A mix of everything, honestly. So I've got my gym playlist, which is hardcore hip hop.
No kidding. Okay.
I know, it's very surprising to people. And then when I'm in the office, I like a little bit of jazz.
Really?
Or EDM.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty diverse.
You are very diverse. That's cool. What would be your favorite ideal vacation if you can get away, with your husband and just go somewhere?
Barcelona, Spain.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We've been there. I've been there twice. I've been there with my husband once, but there's just something about the city. It's stole our hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you nap all day and then eat all night? Is that
Pretty
how
much.
that works?
I don't nap.
No.
My husband does. So, I'm either sketching while he's napping or doing something.
Us husbands, when we reach a certain age, I think we like to take naps.
You need naps.
Yeah, something like that. Do you have a morning ritual, like every morning that you do, that you get up? Do you make your coffee and sit there and read? Do you hit social media right away? Do you meditate? What do you do?
Yeah.
What's your morning ritual?
Okay, so I have an app on my phone called the 5-Minute Journal.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
No.
Oh, you've got to get it.
Really?
So it's basically starting off your day with really good intention, but also with positive affirmation.
Okay.
And then, so that's about 2.5 minutes in the morning, and then I'll finish it up in the evening before I go to bed, kind of reflecting on my day. That's kind of been the best ritual that I've infused into my everyday.
Yeah.
And then now that I have a puppy, I take him for a run.
That's right.
Yes.
Puppy's adorable.
Yeah, thank you. So the run has actually been awesome. I've been able to replace my cup of coffee with a run.
With a run.
And that's where I get my energy in the morning.
Very cool.
Yes,
yeah, that's awesome. Any of you that own coffee shops, we're not advocating don't drink coffee, but just have it after your run.
Right.
So
yeah.
That's really cool. What do you prefer? Wine, beer? What's
Wine.
your drink of choice? Yeah.
100% red wine.
100% red wine.
Yes.
And then as far as you going out and driving your vehicle, can you drive 55 or can you not drive 55?
What does that mean?
Do you speed or do you not speed?
Oh, am I allowed to answer this?
Of course you are. There's
Well-
only a few police officers listening.
Sometimes I speed, but not very often.
No, but not very often.
I'm usually stuck in traffic
Right.
on my commute to work.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's back to back, and I'm driving 20 miles an hour.
I know, that's like a unique question that you're not going to get anywhere else, I would assume.
I love that.
And then do you prefer podcast or do you prefer talk radio or do you prefer music? What's your jam when you're in the cars?
Podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. So music is what I listen to in the office, but
Okay.
on my way to work and back home,
Yeah.
I'm always listening to a podcast.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. And you're oh, go ahead.
I was going to say your podcast was recently added to my list of
Yes!
must listen to.
5-star!
Yeah.
Do you, what was I going to say? So you're really good on social media. I've noticed on your LinkedIn, your Instagram, all your certain, channels. Do you feel social media has helped you in staying relevant in business? And you post a lot of great articles about, women in hospitality and, design articles and how it helps restaurants and stuff like that. Do you enjoy doing that?
I really do enjoy it, and I
Yeah.
actually think it's kind of a hard thing to, I guess, evaluate in terms of, well, does it push my business forward or not? But I really enjoy being just being able to see new articles or explore new design ideas,
Yeah.
or even share with the world what we have going on, not just from a design standpoint, but from a culture standpoint. I'm finding that a lot of people like to see what it's like in our studio, not
Yeah.
just what our work looks like.
And you invite people back to your office quite a bit.
I do.
Yeah,
I
because
do.
it's good. I like to do the same thing here, kind of
Yeah.
show people what the vibe is and the energy
Right.
and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So speaking of social media, where can everybody find you?
So on Instagram, we're fji.design.
Okay.
On Facebook, we are the same, fji.design. And website is fji.design.
Look at you.
Make it really easy.
Make it real simple. And you're obviously on LinkedIn
Yes.
and all that.
Yes.
And you do Instagram, yeah,
Yeah.
and all that. Okay, cool. Is there anything you want to leave our listening audience with?
I wish I had time to prepare for this.
Yeah?
I would say just go out, support our local eateries.
Yep.
There's a lot of talent in the Valley. Enjoy a meal with someone you love. Put your phone away
Yeah.
and just deep conversation.
That's an amazing message. I think that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, I will certainly go right next to you on that, where our restaurants have become such our community. These chefs are out here, and restaurant owners and bartenders and everybody, they're working so hard to really create a vibe and a safe and fun place for you to take your family, your friends, and all that, and escape the 9 to 5 everyday hour of work, or 16-hour work day at the hospital, or
Right.
any of that sort of stuff. And so,
Now that you've said that, I actually have something else to add.
Yes, good. See, that's usually what
You-
happens
you
when I blabber
sparked
off.
something.
Thank
yes.
you.
So my husband and I were in Portugal last year, and obviously we were out every night of the week. And on a Wednesday night, we noticed the streets were busier than they were on the weekend.
Yeah.
And we bumped into some travelers that were from Canada, and they commented and said, back home, Canada, U.S.,
Right.
people are at home on Wednesday night. They're not out.
Yeah.
They save their weekends for enjoyment, and they keep the week for work, strictly work. And so when I came back, I met up with my friends and I said, hey guys, let's start a Wednesday dinner club. That way we
great
get out of
idea.
the house
Yeah.
during the week.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait until the weekend to enjoy life. And so I would encourage everybody to do the same. Just do something in the middle of the week. We don't have to wait until the weekend to enjoy the
That
fruits of
is
our labor.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that. There you have it, everybody. Start your Wednesday dinner club.
Yes.
And start it at 4 o'clock so you can be in bed by 8.
Right.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Well, that's great. Well, it's been awesome to have you. Thank you for doing my podcast.
Thank
You
you.
are my 5th guest ever.
Woo.
Or 4th? No, my 4th guest ever.
Yeah.
So this is exciting. I will look forward to publishing this. And thank you, everybody, for listening. I'm really, I guess, just flattered that anybody would even listen to me blabber off. But obviously, I have some amazing guests that have come on, and hopefully we're creating some added value for you, and you're enjoying this. So please subscribe to the podcast if you have not already. Give me a 5-star. It helps on the different rating tiers or whatever, and get some push going, and really appreciate it all. So until the next podcast, which I have some pretty cool stuff coming up that's restaurant related but also life related, have a great day, and